Good night, everyone. Tonight we are going to talk about the situation of our journalist, Mike Harris. Here are the main questions. First of all, how to deal with the criticism which are harming our newspaper image, and second, whether to discipline Mike Harris for his behavior. I want to know everybody's point of view. In my opinion, we can give a press release about the situation of our correspondent and make the public understand that to be closer to the news and people is necessary to take risk, but not unnecessary. It is now that the newspaper has been criticized, but also the profession of transmitting information effectively and truthfully is part of our lives. Should not take risk lightly, and our reporter knew the critical situation of the country where he was. Mike Harris is one of the best in the field, and it was his own decision to be part of this news. To the second point, his behavior is being evaluated and punished by himself. But we do not want to see it as a punishment because he is there fulfilling his duty as a professional and he was not obligated to do so. This was his own criterion. However, we have been very aware of the situation and we will not give up until Mike is free. He is one of us and we will fight for his life, integrity, and because he returns home with his family. We can say this to the press. What do you think about?
Um, yes, Lisbeth, you just took the word out of my mouth. The way I see it, it may be a little controversial. Our emotions cannot be involved. We should be rational and place journalists' shoes before making decision. I entirely agree with you.
In regards to how to deal with the criticism, I was thinking something similar to Lee's opinion, but I will add that when a correspondent is passionate to his profession, one feels that he has the obligation of maintaining well-informed the people, and sometimes it causes that the risks are not measured. If you want my honest opinion, I think this was the case of Mike Harris. He did not think he was acting as an irresponsible correspondent. Instead, he was thinking it was his responsibility to make an exceptional job as he always does. I thought it might be a good idea to highlight that the reason behind Harry's action was to perform an outstanding job as he usually does. On the other hand, in my opinion, we should initiate the press communication stating how deep we feel the consequences of the rescue operation. When thinking whether to discipline Mike Harris for his behavior, I think that in fact Mike has to be disciplined because in every situation, risk should be measured. We can recognize his excellent job, but let him know that it does not mean that he can jump over all the rules and risks.
Well, the way I see it, the correct way to deal with the criticisms related with our correspondent Mike Harris is to make a statement about what has happened and explain our readers the naturality of the events. First, it's important to clarify that he went for his own. I must add I agree with Floor's opinion because he now make Mike loved his job and wanted to give the best reports to everybody. On the other hand, I think we must give him a training about the risks he can face in his job and make him more aware about it, having in mind that everybody is free to make what makes them happy. But when you are working to a company, even if I agree with his bravery and determination, I think he must think more about the reputation of the newspaper because he isn't acting just in his name, but in the name of the paper. Lisbeth, what do you think?
You are absolutely right, Alexandra, about that all people are free to do what they want. And also that working in a company, you have to ensure the image of it. However, I totally disagree about first thinking in the reputation of the newspaper. Let's not forget that we are here to inform and keep citizens updated. And that is our main value, to transmit real information and form the best sources. That is how we have built our reputation over the years.
Yeah, I suppose that is something that can be handled by oneself, just saying that it is not true or just believing on who you are. There would be a good idea to let that the actions of the real life will show you is that person and let the people know through interviews or documental on TV showing their achievements and at the same time for the rest of the people uh, what they want to believe. In my opinion, uh, there must be not be a discipline for him because he's just doing his job, and it is an act of bravery. So just going in the middle of a word to get a report about it, and the people around know about the terrible battles in a word and what are the purposes for that is really important to be aware of it. Do to the best of my knowledge, we make mistakes, and everybody, single person, deserves opportunities to improve the performance in the field by receiving opinions, feedbacks, strategies to grow up as a person, a professional. We as company and my as employee, how to learn how to manage situations we never planned to experience. So the conclusion, we conclude that we have to make an announcement to inform our readers about what have happened with my Harris situation according to Floor's opinion of view point of view. First, we should start with the press communication about how did we feel the consequences of the rescue operation. Afterwards, we can explain that it is known that a newspaper has been criticized by, but also the profession of transmitting information effectively and truthfully is part of the lives of every person working as a journalist in a newspaper. Um, this was the case of the Mike Harris. He didn't think he was acting as an irresponsible correspondent. Instead, he was thinking it was his responsibility to make an exceptional job, and he always does. Um, he is one of the best correspondents, and this was his own decision. In addition, this is a situation where emotions cannot be involved. So all of us should be rational and place journalist shoes before making decision. As I said, we as a company and Mike as an employee learn how to manage situation we never planned to experience, and this is a part of our daily lives.
On the other hand, we think it's important to train not just Mike, but every journalist working with us to make them more aware about the risk they are going to face in a real context of their careers. Next, we have in mind Mike's act was really courageous because he wanted to give the better information to our readers, avoid sensationalism, and do what they love the best way he can. Finally, we are going to create a series of regulations to don't let our journalists go as far as Mike did. We want to maintain them safe, but still informing the best way. Thanks for sharing your opinions.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.